This is the real life recovery house, and this is the house where my dad was murdered at.
In April, we introduced you to Chelchasity Pulling and told you about her father, Robert Pulling.
I don't think he belonged here. I really don't.
Pulling suffered from schizophrenia, but somehow ended up here at a recovery house for people with substance abuse problems run by the Real Life program. His family says he was doing well.
Got a really good job. He got his license back, and he was about to move out.
Until he was found dead. Richmond police say Pulling was stabbed to death by a roommate who also tried to steal his bank card. Despite a lengthy criminal history, Real Life had made Kevin Rice the house manager. Pulling's family can't understand why.
The kind of person I believe should have been in charge is someone who has changed their life around for the good.
The family has since filed a lawsuit against Real Life. Their attorney, Noel Brooks, says in order to prevent something like this from happening again, recovery houses need more state oversight.
If we don't get some kind of control, then I believe that Mr. Pulling's death was just the start of what's to come.
Currently, the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, or DBHDS, has a certification process for recovery house residences, but it's voluntary, and it's not actually the state doing the certifying. A recovery house can be certified through Oxford Houses of Virginia, a nonprofit that charters recovery homes, or the Virginia Association of Recovery Residences, otherwise known as VAR. They advocate on behalf of recovery residences. Real Life is accredited through VAR, and Dr. Sarah Scarborough, who owns Real Life, is the president of the VAR board.
And they have suggested canons or ethical principles that these recovery homes are supposed to abide by. But they seem rather suggestive in nature as opposed to mandatory. And in terms of practicality, there's nothing that says they are being enforced or living up to these ideals.
Despite that, the General Assembly allocated $10 million to VAR in the August 2021 special session, 2/3 of which is to be spent on recovery house beds for the indigent. Even Chesterfield Sheriff Carl Leonard, who really believes in the mission of recovery houses,
for us, it's essential when somebody leaves our jail, they go into one of these recovery homes,
says the state needs to have more control.
Just like hospitals have oversight, these are recovery homes have patients. That's what the people in there are doing. They're suffering from a disease, the disease of addiction. So VAR in itself isn't the end all for this, but it's a starting point. That's all it is.
I think that the model that we have now is a model that's working very well.
Anthony Grimes, the executive director for VAR, argues the state does provide oversight through DBHDS because they delegate the funding to VAR. The thing is, the state itself does not inspect a single recovery residence.
DBHDS is, you say they're managing VAR, but really they're saying, VAR, we're entrusting you with managing the recovery residences. We're entrusting you with making sure everything is up to par at all of these houses.
Yeah, it's really similar to a major operation I got. I didn't get to look at my brain surgeon's degree, but I had to trust that the hospital had him working there and that he had my best interest at heart.
We asked Grimes if VAR should be holding Real Life accountable for what happened to Robert Pulling.
Followed all of its proper protocols and procedures regarding the tragic incident that occurred, and certainly, it is an ongoing litigated lawsuit that is occurring. So, at this time, we're not going to speak publicly about it until the conclusion of the lawsuit.
The person who started Real Life, who's the president of Real Life, is the president of your board. So how can the public and also the family of Mr. Pulling entrust that you are handling this situation fairly?
And the public just doesn't have to trust me. We have an entire staff here and many people on our board who certainly, are in constant contact with our VAR office. They frequently come by here. So it would be unfair to frame it as if I am the ultimate authority on all things.
Answers that Chelchasity Pulling says provide little comfort.
I don't want any other family to have to go through what me and my brother are going through. I'm sorry.
Well, VAR is required in its contract with the state to send monthly reports of all incidents, complaints, and grievances at its certified recovery houses. So I submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to try to find out what VAR told the state about what happened at Robert Pulling's house. But it turns out all VAR has to submit are the number of grievances, complaints, or incidents reported that month. They do not have to provide any details.